So I started it last year. And I started it because I realized I was like, oh wow, I read a whole lot of books by Latine authors. And I was just thinking, I was like, I want to be reading these with other folks. I want to figure out how we can read a whole bunch of Latine authors together and be really excited about it. And then what that means for Latine literature and the support of Latine literature. Which felt like, with what I'm doing with La Comunidad Reads and DC Public Libraries, it felt like the online extension of it,
Mhm.
you know? And I have to credit also Crystal from at Melanated Reader who started her challenge, which the first one was 20 books by Black women, and now she's doing 20 books by Black folks. And, I was just like, I love this and I'm doing her challenge. And I'm like, what can I do too? How can I provide that extension to complement what I'm doing in person online for folks who can't be there in person? Because we do meet in person. And though you can tune in on DCPL's YouTube channel, it's still that element of like, how can I be part of something? Which is, I think, another form of continuing to build community. And so, yeah, that's where it started. That's how I started it. It's been a lot of fun. I was definitely going to try to bring it back, but the reception was really great. A lot of people participated last year. I love cheering people on. I think that's been the most fun thing is getting to see what everyone else is reading. um, I was really into the idea of figuring out a way to have people also write book reviews. Like, can we do a 1 hour Zoom during the week where people drop in and we write book reviews about the books we're reading? Not just Latine books, but book reviews in general. Because I feel like, I don't know about you, but I've been really bad about writing book reviews after I finish. Um, and yeah, so I just, it's been really wonderful, I think, to be able to see what people are reading and to have them come back to me and just be like, look, I'm so excited that I read all these books. I've had a good amount of people come back and be like, I have just it snowballed for me. Like it was one Latine book a month, and then now I'm like at 20, and like
Nice.
yeah, I just love reading like just a spectrum of Latine authors. Like you could really find them in every genre. And
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful because we're hopefully breaking whatever stereotypes people might accidentally have about Latine literature. Magical realism, it's all just Isabel Allende, you know what I mean? So I'm hoping that that is that is what it's doing, is it's pushing people to see a little bit more of the breadth and scope and spectrum of Latine literature and authors.
No, that's great. And then from like the author side, how's that been to have authors been like, hey, can you share about my book or talk about how do you kind
Yeah.
of do that when it comes to the challenge?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So in terms of like creating community and collaboration, these past, I think, 2 or 3 years, I've actually reached out to another Latina creator who was on Twitter first, and they used to compile this large list of books coming out in about the future. But for example, they worked on this list last year, and it was like books coming out in 2025, right? But Latine books. And
Mhm.
the thing about that, I think we don't talk about enough, is that books are really hard to find if they're not big title bestsellers that people are in your inbox pitching you, or that someone on Instagram already has a copy of. Like those smaller press books, like if you could spend hours Googling online, scrolling through social media trying to find books that aren't basically going to be the next buzz book.
Mhm.
And so I collaborated with this wonderful creator, and that was because they went on Twitter and they were like, I do this list every year and I put it out for free. And they were like, I'm not doing it anymore until someone pays me. And I said, oh, I was like, I will pay you if you pull books that are coming out in the new year for Latine and queer books, because that's what I'm interested in. And so it was just a great way to be able to be like, I'm going to step up and provide that community support for you. And this year, I also paid her, and then she was also able to make the list live so that people could pay, like, her give her a cup of coffee, pay her, like, $5 for the list, and so, that's another way in which, I just feel like it's been just great being able to collaborate and to, get authors to that come to me to like I just, I point them to the list and we're like, "We can add you there," and whatever creator is or whatever media is, like, hoping to amplify books, they can go and scroll through this list. I think now she has, like, 700 plus titles of
Oh, wow.
Latine and queer authors on the list. But, I mean, if you're like, for example, if you're basically, planning a podcast, right? And you're like, "Okay, well, I would like to" and say you think about diversity, like, "I would like to think of, some Latinx authors to invite on the podcast," but you don't have anyone pitching you their books. There is the list. The list, you can go to the list, you can find a book based on whatever genre, because she has middle grade, young adult, literary fiction, thrillers, like, everything is on this list, queer books, like I said. And, I think that's been a way that I've been able to kind of if authors come to me, like, give them a way to, yeah, a way for people to, find their books, because I would love to be able to promote every single book and person that comes to me, but, I just can't. I'm like one person, you know?
If you enjoyed that clip, make sure you head over to www.bookupapp.com to download our app so you can connect with your favorite bookish content creators, start conversations, and start your own book club.